From Spain, we travel 5,400 miles to the west, deep in the forests of Northern California. Near the quiet mountain town of Willow Creek is where two friends captured images of a hairy, bipedal ape-like creature that you might know as Bigfoot. Some believe it was a groundbreaking scientific discovery, and others a legendary hoax. But no matter what you believe, it is the place where a local folk story turned into an international obsession. 230 miles northwest of San Francisco, Willow Creek, California is a quiet town with a hair-raising nickname: the Bigfoot capital of the world. So called because there have been more than 430 reported sightings of the creature in this area.
Right now we're in Willow Creek, standing before the world-famous Bigfoot Museum. It's ground zero for Bigfoot and also ground zero for Bigfoot believers.
While it is picturesque, the area around Willow Creek was hardly a legendary location. That is until Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin came along on October 20th, 1967, and made what is now known as the Patterson-Gimlin film.
It starts with Roger Patterson, a cowboy from eastern Washington and an early Bigfoot fanatic. One day, Patterson bumps into an old friend, Bob Gimlin. He shows him a Bigfoot print, and he tells him tales of all the sightings, trying to turn him into a believer. Bob Gimlin is just not buying it.
Patterson tells Gimlin he read a story in the newspaper about possible Bigfoot prints spotted along a logging road in a remote area in California. He asks Gimlin to join him on a trek through Six Rivers National Forest to search for evidence that Bigfoot is out there. Gimlin is skeptical, but the trip sounds like fun, so he agrees to go. Armed with a rented film camera, the two men set off into the wilderness.
This is where it happened. This is Bluff Creek. They've been traveling several days in the National Forest. They're about 50 miles north of Willow Creek. This is the middle of nowhere.
According to their account, the men approach a bend in a creek when out of nowhere they see what they think could be the creature. Patterson is understandably startled, but quickly recovers and grabs the camera from his bag. He rushes across a rocky riverbed in the direction of what he saw. Patterson stops about 100 feet away from something and kneels with his camera. He shoots an entire roll of film. Then the two men watch the creature walk off into the trees and disappear.
And just like that, it was gone. And the only thing left afterwards was a foul, skunky smell, which was evidence that this was not a hoax, but a Bigfoot.
Whatever it was, the footage that Patterson and Gimlin brought back from the forest has spawned decades of debate. Those searching for the truth behind this controversial amateur film often look to that single, most iconic image captured in frame 352.
That one image should be enough to make anyone a Bigfoot believer. Look at the shape of that muscle. You can't fake that with padding. Look at the consistency of the fur. This is the real deal.
Maybe, but the plot sure does thicken when, in 2002, a costume maker comes forward claiming he made the suit for Roger Patterson, though there's no real evidence to substantiate his story. So is it all a hoax, or not? Well, often lost in the debate is one King Kong-sized detail about Patterson and Gimlin's expedition. They didn't just shoot film. They claimed to bring back physical evidence. The wilderness just north of the mountain town of Willow Creek, California, is home to perhaps the most documented and controversial Bigfoot sighting in history. And while experts love to argue about the validity of the images captured by the Patterson-Gimlin film, many overlook the other major piece of purported evidence from that day. After the creature disappears into the woods, the men claim to find a pristine footprint that it conveniently left behind, and they make a cast of it.
The footprint they brought back is exceptional. It shows a heel strike where the Bigfoot dug its foot into the soft soil, and there's a distinct pressure ridge where it rolled to the front of the foot. You can't fake that.
Of course, there are skeptics. Many believe that Roger Patterson concocted the film as a money-making endeavor. And to that end, he was successful, creating a revenue stream that keeps on giving to this day. In the years after their fateful trip, financial disagreements end the friendship between Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. But in 1972, as Patterson lies on his deathbed, his old friend pays him a visit and they bury the hatchet. Willow Creek remains a hotbed of Bigfoot sightings and really leans into its brand with a museum and festivals dedicated to the big hairy biped that put the town on the map. From a place in California that harbors a legendary beast, we travel to Canfranc, Spain, a spot at the center of a battle against a very real